here. The delicious news that came out yesterday, which is that Andrew and Tristan Tate have been charged by the UK police with 21 counts, including rape, human trafficking, and prostitution. I guess in Andrew's case, it's charges from 3 separate women, and in Tristan's case, it's the same woman but 11 different counts.
Oh my God.
So, you know, all of their fans, because they do have them inexplicably, are saying this is a complete setup. It's all lies, blah, blah, blah. And
political targeting. Like it's all
it's political targeting.
Stuff. Oh, okay.
But you know, when there is smoke, there is often fire. That's all I'm going to say. And so here is a news report about these new charges.
It is the Crown Prosecution Service clarifying, as they put it, the situation regarding Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan. And they say we can confirm that we have authorised charges against Andrew and Tristan Tate for offences including rape, human trafficking, controlling prostitution, and actual bodily harm against 3 women. These charging decisions follow receipt of a file of evidence from Bedfordshire police. A European arrest warrant was issued in England in 2024, and as a result, the Romanian courts then ordered the extradition to the UK of Andrew Tate and his brother. However, says the CPS, domestic criminal matters, which the brothers are also facing in Romania, must be settled first. And then the CPS says, we remind everyone that criminal proceedings are active and that the defendants have a right to a fair trial. But confirmation that the CPS has authorised charges against Andrew Tate and his brother for offences including rape and human trafficking.
Rape. Yeah.
Rape.
Rape.
So
yeah,
they like to sue everybody. So I will simply say, if they are guilty of said charges, I hope they rot for eternity, because I cannot stand either of them.
If, you know, allegedly.
Right.
Because they're allegedly, you know,
Exactly.
being all of this. Yeah, but I totally agree with you. Him smoking that cigarette all smug.
It's
vile.
the arrogance and just the
vile.
They're
Absolutely.
so awful.
They really are.
Awful people.
You know what's not awful is Blackout Coffee.
It's so good.
So good, you guys. Listen, they have bundles. I don't know if you guys know this, but they have bundles on their site. You can get like swag and coffee. There's different types of coffee. There's flavor coffee. They have cocoa. I don't know if you knew this, but they have cocoa. They have stickers. They have sorts of like bumper stickers, everything. You can get all sorts of different kinds of bundles. You need to check out their website, blackoutcoffee.com/chicks. Use code chicks at checkout. You can get 20% off. You could become a brand ambassador if you want to do that.
Ooh.
I mean, hello. Yes, you can do that. So definitely check it out. Blackoutcoffee.com/chicks. Use code chicks. Get 20% off. We love Blackout. Do it. You chicks hate the Tates? You hate? Yes, we do. It's pretty. What is
They're
it?
awful.
Obvious how much we hate them. You should also check out our socials, www.chicksontheright.com/links. Do that. And then also subscribe to this podcast. Please do that. It helps us out a lot when you do that. And tell your friends. Just click subscribe.
And did you want to tell everybody like what's coming up on the weekend?
Oh yeah, you guys, we talked to Kirk Cameron. You guys remember him, Mike Seaver? You remember Mike Seaver?
From Growing Pains?
We had a discussion with him the other day. It was a little surreal.
Like, it is kind of weird to like be talking to the guy that you grew up with on TV.
And you thought was cute, you know, when you were a teenager. It was a little weird. Like even Mock at one point, she was just like, yeah, I was kind of mad. Like when you got with your now wife, because I was a little jealous because you were kind of, you know, it's surreal because, you know, we're just two dorks, right? And now we're interviewing these people and it's like, that's Mike Seaver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked to him. He's a lovely man. And that will come out on Saturday. You guys can check that out.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. You guys, if you are fans of Kirk Cameron, then I have a feeling that you will like that episode of
Totally.
So we enjoyed talking to him a lot. All right, let's get into some news and some stuff. It is May 29th, which means that tomorrow officially marks the end of Elon's short-term assignment, for lack of a better word. People, they're reading the headlines about the fact that he is pulling away, as he was expected to and always knew he would be at the end of May. Some news outlets are trying to spin it like, oh my God, there's so much drama and there's this huge rift between They've been trying to do that since the beginning, trying to put a wedge in between President Trump and Elon Musk. I don't know what is to be gained from doing that. I think that they are fine. They're tight. They're fine. You know what I mean?
He's even said, I love him. Like, I absolutely love him.
Right.
You can disagree about, we disagree about things and we love each other. We're best friends. They love you. You can tell that it's genuine and they genuinely care for each other. And they have respect for each other. I think he's not too thrilled about this big, beautiful bill.
Right. And that's what we're going to talk about. So he was interviewed recently and asked about it. He's been very vocal about Twitter about it, retweeting a lot of people who are mad that this big, beautiful bill does not codify DOGE's work. And so he's been retweeting that and he's been talking about it. Here's what he said over the weekend.
So, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on DOGE gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
So that's what he said. And then yesterday, Trump was taking questions from reporters, as he does almost every single day. And he was asked specifically, in fact, the reporter read that quote to him from Elon and said, what is your reaction? And here is what Trump said.
Well, the reaction's a lot of things. Number one, we have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting. We need to get a lot of support, and we have a lot of support. We had to get it through the House. The House was, we have no Democrats. If it's up to the Democrats, they'll take the 65% increase. If that doesn't get approved, this country is going to have a 65% increase in taxes. We will be negotiating that bill, and I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it. That's the way they go. It's very big. It's the big, beautiful bill. So we're going to see what happens, because the Senate, as you know, is negotiating with us, and they have to then go back to the House, and, it's got a way to go. But I have to say, Speaker Johnson and Thune have done an incredible job. John Thune has done a fantastic job, and they're working together with me and others.
Yeah,
I don't think he's mad at him. I think he's just like, that's fine for him to think. He there's a process and we got to go through it, and that's what we're doing.
And I think Trump is the kind of guy, he knows how to play the game. Elon wasn't there for playing the game. Elon was there to just completely slash things. The problem I have with this is I can see both sides, but there's urgency to this. Like, I feel like there's some urgency to just completely annihilating the swamp. And I don't know if we're doing that enough. We got like one shot at this. And so I'm a little worried about this. I'm a little worried about us actually annihilating the swamp by encouraging more spending. There are some good people who, not saying that, some people are just going to be contradictory to be contradictory, but I do believe that we could be doing better when it comes to the spending part of it. I mean, come on, like,
I'm trying to like offer grace. I know what a slim majority we have, and it's impossible. It's like next to impossible to get everybody on board the same dang bill. You know what I mean?
And that's Trump. Trump understands that. So weirdly enough, you're kind of on Trump's side, and I tend to lean a little bit more towards Elon's side. I give Trump grace because I understand what he's doing. He's playing the game. You got to play the game when you're there. You have to do it in order to get shit done. You have to. And that's what he's doing. But at the same time, I'm like, God, I wish we could take a sledgehammer to all of this.
I know.
Because this is our shot to do it, but You can't.
And I don't think we're, I don't know that we need to give up just yet. And I think
Right.
I learned yesterday about some procedural things that have to happen in order for the DOGE cuts to be codified. And we'll get to that in just a minute, but not before we remind everybody how well gold is doing right now. So the Bank of America actually calls gold the ultimate safe haven. And it was up 27% in 2024. It is expected to go up another 25% this year. So that's kind of a big deal. And of course, we like First Fidelity Reserve because we know we can trust them. They are not going to swindle you. They have, I think, what is it, like 100,000 plus clients. Yeah, it's 100,000 plus clients. They've also got this amazing precious metals guide, which is so handy at explaining what kinds of collector coins, if you're into that, if you're curious about what coins might be good collector's items, they've got all the information about that, but also just a general overview about how to invest in precious metals. This is really, 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 really helpful. And you can get yourself or your kids or your grandkids, like actual physical gold and silver like this. This is just 0.999 fine silver right here. Isn't that cool? It's like a little flag. I love that.
Very cool.
And you can get, by the way, that guide for absolutely free. It is 38 pages, full color, glossy, beautiful guide. No obligation after you get it. You just need to call 800-336-1630 and tell them that you heard about them from the chicks. 800-336-1630. Okay, so what I learned yesterday, we'll get to that in a second. First, let's show what Stephen Miller was trying to explain to everybody about DOGE. So here's what he said. If you could read that to everybody, that would be awesome.
I can. DOGE cuts are to discretionary spending, the federal bureaucracy. Under Senate budget rules, you cannot cut discretionary spending, only mandatory in a reconciliation bill. So DOGE cuts would have to be done through what is known as a rescissions package or an appropriations bill. The big, beautiful bill is not an annual budget bill. It does not fund the departments of government. It does not finance our agencies or federal programs. Instead, it includes the single largest welfare reform in American history, along with the largest tax cut and reform in American history, the most aggressive energy exploration in American history, and the strongest border bill in American history, all while reducing the deficit. I hope that that's correct.
I mean, I feel like he's pretty smart.
He's he knows I get it. He knows what's going on. I also hate that all of this crap has to be done all in one bill.
Yeah. I think that's yeah, I hear what you're saying, because a lot of these things you want them to be standalone and they're not, and it's frustrating.
Right. It's super frustrating, and I wish that was something that we could have changed. We could have done several standalone bills and just voted on the stand. I wish that would change, and but that we were the spearheaders for that change, and it's not changing. But I get it. I mean, I understand what he's saying here, and that's great. There are good things to this. There are a lot of great things in this big, beautiful bill. Trump said that too. And then there's some stuff in there you're like, I'm not too happy about that, But I guess you take the bad. Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I get the frustration, and you see a lot of it out on social media. Scott Adams, who we've talked about a lot recently, he expressed the frustration of a lot of people when he tweeted out, I'm sure, and this was in response to Stephen Miller. He said, I'm sure that this is technically accurate. It doesn't help a bit. No one wants to hear why their government can't cut the budget. Tell us when and how you can.
Great comeback.
Doesn't that just speak to all of our people like that? Could not say it any better.
Right.
And then Eric Erickson also retweeted Stephen Miller and said, as I noted yesterday after talking to a senator, the DOGE cuts must come through a rescission package, but that requires a letter from the president with instructions on the rescissions he wants. And that letter has not been sent to Congress. And this is when I was like, oh, well, so there's a process that has to be followed. And maybe that's being worked on. And once that gets worked on, then a lot of these DOGE cuts will be codified. And wouldn't that be amazing? And so Mike Johnson then tweeted, and if you could read this one too, he explained exactly what needs to happen. Here is his tweet.
Elon Musk and the entire DOGE team have done incredible work exposing waste, fraud, and abuse across the federal government, from the insanity of USAID spending to finding over 12 million people on Social Security who were over 120 years old. Oh my God. The House is eager and ready to act on DOGE's findings so we can deliver even more cuts to big government that President Trump wants and the American people demand. We will do that in 2 ways. Number one, when the White House sends its rescissions package to the House, we will act quickly by passing legislation to codify the cuts. Number two, the House will use the appropriations process to swiftly implement President Trump's 2026 budget. In the meantime, we have been working around the clock as we prepared for those processes. The House made sure to build on DOGE's success within the One Big Beautiful Bill. Stephen Miller has made an important point about the 2 efforts. DOGE found savings in discretionary spending, such as funding agencies, while our One Big Beautiful Bill secured over $1.6 trillion in savings in mandatory spending, such as Medicaid. Both are historic and take huge steps towards addressing our debt and deficit.
And,
Okay.
you know, if that's like, so whatever this rescissions package looks like, you know, when Mike Johnson says we're going to act quickly to pass legislation to codify the cuts, I don't think there would be a Republican
That wouldn't
just
want to
don't
do
think
that.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
what Republican is going to be like, no, I don't
not
want to cut.
Well,
I
if
just
they-
can't imagine that.
If any of them do, then we need to get them the F out of there. I
Right.
mean, that's a huge red flag if they go against that. That's huge red
Right.
flag.
Like, it's one
Yeah.
thing for them to be against more spending. I get it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Right.
but if there are actual bills that say we're going to cut X amount from this agency, you know, as
Mhm.
pointed out by DOGE, who in their right mind as a Republican is going to be like, no, I'm going to vote no on that.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised though if there were some that really want to take that money and use it for other, because even Tim Burchett, when we talk to him, he's like, listen, we can, like, people that are, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but there are people that were in his midst. You know, he has colleagues that will be like, yay, we're saving money. I can't wait to take that money and use it for some other stupid shit.
That's
You
true.
know, because that's what this is what politicians do. So they don't care because it's our money. So we've got to it has to be codified. It has to. Like, there's got to be a
Yeah.
way where we can say, okay, so this money's been saved. Now we need to go ahead and keep it saved. So
Right.
you guys don't get your hands on it because you guys cannot be trusted with our money.
Mm-hmm. And just because Elon's gone doesn't mean that DOGE is gone. So they, you know, there's still all the folks on that team that are doing the things and still trying to identify waste and fraud and abuse and all of that. So,
Right.
you know, I'm not worried that, like, all of a sudden the work is over and since we haven't seen anything codified yet, that it's all completely, you know, for naught. I think there are going to be some lasting cuts made. I have to hope.
There better be.
I know.
That is our mandate. That is the reason he's been doing it. And listen, from a personal perspective, if it's not, can you imagine how Elon must feel? The work
that's why he's so disappointed.
Yeah, the work that guy did at his own personal expense. I mean, he went in there and, my God, look at his freaking businesses were burned down. I mean, I hope to God things are codified for all of our sake. But I mean, that guy did that because he wanted to do something good for America.
Mm-hmm.
So make it happen, government.
And I know a lot of people point to Thomas Massie as one of the folks in Congress who, you know, you can always count on to be principled. And even when he's going against the mainstream of Republicans, you know, he holds his ground. People in Kentucky absolutely love him. But this was interesting. I saw this kind of happening on Twitter yesterday. He put out a poll, like a tweet poll, and asked people, what's the right way to vote in Congress? Is it by principle, party, or president? And this woman that goes by Spitfire wrote back, constituents.
Right.
And he blocked her. Yeah. And I was like, what?
Okay, Thomas Massie, you've got some splaining to do.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and she was talking about it late. She was just like, that is literally all I said. And he blocked her. And I just did not like that at all.
No, none of us should like that at all. Looks like somebody's getting a little too big for his britches.
I
mean, these people, they all forget who they freaking work for.
Yeah.
That we are your boss. Hello. I mean, that's just seriously. That's
I
just
know.
like, I cannot believe that. That's just like me saying when I worked in corporate America, oh, I mean, I don't have to answer to my boss.
Right.
The hell you don't, Daisy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a surprise. I mean, I will say it was a surprise, but like he, and maybe when maybe he was trying to alliterate and, constituents doesn't start with a P.
Well,
And
maybe
maybe he meant principled according to the constituents. I don't know.
Mock.
But the fact that he blocked her was real
If he
tell.
wanted to use alliteration, he could have added people.
People who voted for me. Yeah.
Right. How about that? Cash me outside. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a bit
Nuts.
of a shocker, I will say. Was
Not
not
okay.
expecting that from Mr. Massie at
Mm-mm.
all. Show of hands, please. Who has gone out to see The Last Rodeo? Anybody? I mean, we saw it in advance because we're super special.
I know, right? We got to see it like in our home.
But I'm just curious if anybody has gone out and seen it, what they thought, because it's really, really a
Mhm.
fun movie and it's a feel-good movie. Who doesn't need that in these times?
And
you
women, what
guys?
do we think about Neil McDonough's blue eyes? What do we think?
Okay, the eyes. The
got-
eyes are nice. I will say
he's hot. She doesn't think he's as hot as I think he's hot, but I think he's hot.
Okay, a lot of people.
Good.
Yeah, people are saying
People
they
have
saw it.
seen
They
it.
loved it. Yeah,
So
great.
good,
That's awesome.
right?
Yeah, it's good stuff. And it feels good to also support Angel Studios, who just does amazing, amazing work. They're, of course, the first movie that we promoted of theirs was Sound of Freedom, which was extraordinary.
Mhm.
But they produce films, TV shows for families. You know what I mean? You go and you're not just going to be entertained, but you're going to feel something. There's going to be a positive takeaway. All
You
that
can bring
stuff
your
just-
kids. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
and consider becoming a premium member of the Angel Studios Guild. It actually gives you a voice in terms of what productions happen next. You get to vote. Your voice matters. And if there's something in the works that's being proposed to Angel Studios and you're a premium member, you can be like, I don't think that looks very good. And I'd rather see this. And your voice actually counts. So that's just one of the benefits of becoming a premium member. The other, of course, is that you get free tickets. You get 2 free tickets to The Last Rodeo. You get free tickets to any of their other films that come out in the theaters. So it is a great organization to be a member of. Highly, highly recommend. You can become a member by simply going to angel.com/chicks. angel.com/chicks. Check it out and see the movie. See it this weekend.
You
Why
should.
not?
You totally should.
You totally should.
Mhm.
All right. We've been talking about Trump's battle with Harvard quite a bit. He was also asked about that when he was taking questions from reporters yesterday. Here is where he said that battle is right now.
The confrontation with Harvard, and do you foresee?
I don't know. I don't know. Harvard's got to behave themselves. Harvard is treating our country with great disrespect, and all they're doing is getting in deeper and deeper and deeper. They've got to behave themselves. I'm looking out for the country and for Harvard. I want Harvard to do well. I want Harvard to be great again. We have to look at the list, and Harvard has to understand the last thing I want to do is hurt them. They're hurting themselves. They're fighting. Columbia has been really, and they were very, very bad what they've done. They're very anti-Semitic and lots of other things. But they're working with us on finding a solution. And, they're taking off that hot seat. But Harvard wants to fight. They want to show how smart they are. And they're getting their ass kicked.
I love that so much. They are getting their ass kicked. And it's stupid. Just comply. I mean, this is the thing. If you're taking money from taxpayers, if you're asking for that, or not even asking, they're demanding it. They feel entitled to it.
Yep.
And if you're doing that, then okay. Well, when we ask, hey, who's at your school? You need to tell us who's at your school.
Or when the president says, hey, can you make sure that Jewish students aren't prevented from going to class and that they're not threatened on campus? And Harvarders like, fighting that? You're on the wrong side, Harvard.
Right.
You're on the wrong side.
You're on the wrong side. But I mean, there's the level of compliance that needs to happen here. And I just think that they have gotten so used to taking money from the American. You don't get to do that. F you.
Yeah. And not only does Trump have a fight on his hands with Harvard, but of course he is fighting NPR, PBS. You know, he doesn't want our money to have to go to those organizations either, because as we heard in those Capitol Hill hearings, they are madly biased. I mean, it's beyond transparent how much of a bias they have. But it turns out, as unfortunately Brian Stelter is about to explain, when they say you're hampering our First Amendment rights by not giving us money, which makes no sense, Brian Stelter is explaining how they may have a case when it comes to the First Amendment. Here he is on CNN to explain.
Yeah, NPR did not ask for this fight, but now that they're being attacked by the White House, they are hitting back. And this lawsuit is going to have ramifications, possibly for PBS as well, because Trump is trying to strip funding both from NPR as well as its TV counterpart at PBS. The White House's argument here, as has been expressed, all outlets are biased, that they are favoring the left. Here's today's statement from White House spokesman Harrison Fields. He says outlets like NPR are, quote, creating media to support a particular political party on the taxpayer's dime. Therefore, the president is exercising his lawful authority to limit funding for NPR and PBS. There is already litigation underway about whether Trump actually has this lawful authority, because the way that public broadcasting was set up by Congress in the 1960s, it was set up to make sure that no president could interfere in this way. So there are already legal battles underway on that side. Now, here you have NPR saying it's a First Amendment violation. You might be wondering why. How is it a First Amendment violation?
Yeah,
well,
how?
It has to do with something called viewpoint discrimination. I spoke with one of NPR's lawyers earlier today. They say that because the White House is alleging bias, which NPR denies, but because the White House is alleging bias, it's a form of viewpoint discrimination.
If that flies, I don't even know. I mean, how can that? There's got to be, the Supreme Court is ultimately going to have to weigh in on this, and they can't do what they did with the little kid in the T-shirt that wore the.
And say we don't want to.
Yeah, they can't just be like, we're going to decline to hear this. They can't do that.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Do your freaking job. Yeah, do your job. I just don't. There's no place for this. The fact that it was developed, okay, fine. 1960, whatever. They said, let's go ahead and set this up. I just don't think that we, in light of everything that we have now, social media, everything, why do they even exist? Why are we paying for this? If you want to go ahead and have all the free speech you want, say all the things you want to say. I don't want to pay for it. I don't. Just like I don't want to pay for your abortions. I don't want to pay for it. Pay for it yourself. Crowdfund. Yeah. I'm sure that all the liberals out there will give you tons of money. Crowdfund.
I just don't know how they can have it all the ways, because I saw that, that blonde lady, I don't even remember her name, but the chick that's the head of NPR now, she's the one that was testifying a lot on the Hill. And I saw just yesterday that she was just like, she was explaining more about what Brian Stelter was just saying with this whole viewpoint discrimination. And so they're saying, well, the White House is accusing us of having a bias, in other words, a viewpoint that they want to discriminate against, and then also say we don't have it. So therefore give us the money, but also even if we have it, give us the money. Like, how do they get to have it all the ways?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I feel like it's going to be a fight that ends up going to the Supreme Court.
I hope so.
I'm so mad at it. Like the entitlement is so thick and strong and gross,
But yeah, it is. I think the entitlement is the biggest, that's the thing that I have the biggest problem with. We all know they have a freaking viewpoint. I mean, I think that it is obvious what their viewpoint is. And I'm discriminating against it. Yeah, I am. And the reason I'm discriminating against it is because I'm freaking paying for it and I don't want to. So have your viewpoint all you want. I don't give a crap. I don't care what viewpoint you have. I just don't want to have to fund it. I'm sick of funding other people's crap.
So, and she's still trying to say we're nonpartisan. That is her.
For crying out loud.
She keeps saying that is their defense.
She's lying. She's a liar.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, how do you have it both ways then? Like, you can't say you're discriminating against our viewpoint, but also we're nonpartisan, so we don't have one.
Right?
What? I mean, like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Pick a lane, lady.
Yes, pick a lane. There was a very interesting story that came out yesterday about some DEI was a cornerstone of the Biden presidency. I mean, how aware of it he was, I have no idea, because of course we all know that he was hardly there. But DEI has always been like a big, big deal to Democrats. We know this. And it turns out that it was way more insidious than we thought. There was a story that came out from a whistleblower that said that the Biden administration purposely hurt white farmers in the United States by issuing a loan program that paid off anyone who wasn't a white male. So if you were literally anything other than a white male, you got to have loans forgiven. And so this is incredible. Here is the actual news story about this whistleblower.
Well, in a News Nation exclusive, senior national correspondent Brian Enton spoke to a manager at the Federal Farm Bureau who was blowing the whistle. He says a Biden-era law appears to be helping all farmers, but in reality is only helping some. And he showed us the documents to prove it.
When former President Joe Biden left Washington, D.C., he was leaving behind a DEI secret involving American farmers and $800 million in taxpayer money. And a United States Department of Agriculture whistleblower is now sounding the alarm.
It was to pay off anyone who wasn't a white male's loan.
Unbelievable.
That was the only qualification for this loan forgiveness.
And what was the reaction?
So it was really silent. They were trying to keep this hushed because of the obvious implications of race-based loan forgiveness.
Race-based loan forgiveness. It's in black and white, buried in the American Rescue Plan Act. The United States Secretary of Agriculture shall provide a payment in an amount up to 120% of the outstanding indebtedness of each socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher. The act explicitly lays out who's considered socially disadvantaged.
So just to be clear, if you were American Indian, Alaskan Native, Asian Black, African American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, Hispanic, or Latino, and you were in that group, you were told you didn't have to pay your bills, essentially?
Yes, that's correct. And that your loan would be forgiven up to 120% of the loan value.
James and other white farmers sued the Biden administration and were successful. The loan forgiveness for any farmer who's not white was stopped. The judge writing in his decision, it was an actual constitutional harm that cannot be undone. And James and other white farmers will suffer the harm of being excluded from eligibility for that debt relief program solely on the basis of his race. That harm he has shown is irreparable. But this is where things get interesting. The Biden administration was not ready to give up. They passed the Inflation Reduction Act to help farmers who couldn't pay their loans. It was supposed to help all farmers, but News Nation has learned all farmers were not told about it. The whistleblower says none of the white farmers he works with received the email.
They got nothing. You know, it might not meet the legal definition of fraud, but it isn't right.
Can you even?
I can believe it. I mean, you can talk about privilege. You know, people talk about white privilege. Where's the privilege there? Who has the privilege? That administration, they are so racist. Mm-hmm. Liberals are so racist.
Just unbelievable, right in your face. And it's in the fact that it was in the recovery or rescue or whatever that was.
Right there.
The fact that it's just right in there in black and white because nobody ever freaking reads the bills. And it's all these little staffers that are actually writing law. You know what I mean? That's what is so swampy about how the government works right now. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just, I just cannot. I mean, I believe it because of who they are, as you know, what we've seen over the past 16 years. But at the same time, I can't believe that that's actually written down somewhere in the United States of America. That's happening to farmers.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you're right. And then they lose and then they keep doing it in just a different way.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible.
And these are the same people that will point fingers at Trump and go, he's a racist.
Right.
It never ends, you guys.
It never ends. In that same report, apparently the Trump has not yet gotten rid of some of the people that are responsible for enacting this very unfair program. And I suspect that now that report is out, that will be taken care of. Yeah, I would hope. But my God, I mean,
They'll
you
probably-
cannot.
What makes me sick though is they'll probably all still get pensions. Like
Yeah.
we'll have to pay for their freaking retirements, these people, because government workers, right?
Oh my gosh.
It makes me sick. These people make me physically ill.
And you cannot trust government to take care of you in any way, shape, or form. You have to be self-sufficient. This is just one more reason that another way of being self-sufficient is making sure you have medications on hand that you don't have to worry about going to a doctor for, that you don't have to go to a clinic for. You can just have everything stored in your medicine cabinet. This is the beauty of allfamilypharmacy.com/chicks. If you want to have antibiotics on hand, if you want to have your regular prescription medicines, maybe for blood pressure, cholesterol, whatever you normally take, they make drugs accessible, affordable, and most of all, easy to get. Instead of having, like, especially when you're sick and you just need a Z-Pack, why not just have that in your medicine cabinet waiting for you in the event that you get some sort of infection? You can take care of it on your own without having to sit in a waiting room forever. It's so convenient, so affordable, so accessible. allfamilypharmacy.com/chicks is the website. And when you use code CHICKS20, CHICKS20, you can get 20% off of your entire order. allfamilypharmacy.com/chicks. They also ship really, really quickly. So take advantage. Speaking of government corruption, Ric Grenell, who is now in charge of the Kennedy Center, has made an infuriating discovery. Here he is to explain.
Great new CFO went through the 24 and 25 budgets of the Kennedy Center and found $26 million in phantom revenue, fake revenue. It's criminal. We're going to refer this to the U.S. Attorney's Office here. We're lucky enough to have the Attorney General on the board of the Kennedy Center who heard all the details today. She heard the details, and this is unacceptable in America.
It's unacceptable. I mean, everything is such a freaking scam. Everyone is corrupt. Everyone is stealing money. It is a grift on every level, and I just can't.
Yeah. Who's going to jail though? Like,
who's
going to freaking jail? Because I mean, that's nice. I love, you know how much I love him. I appreciate this. I appreciate all the people finding all the corruption and all the grifting and everything. But who is going to jail? Okay.
And when?
Yeah, exactly. Because I am starting to lose a lot of faith, even in this administration. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm losing faith because I need to start seeing heads rolling and people being put in handcuffs and being carted off to jail. Because if I didn't pay $6 on my income tax, my ass would be in jail. Okay. Ask the J6ers how easy it was to be arrested and put in jail. So this is not hard. Start arresting people. Well, it starts with an investigation by the DOJ. For crying out loud.
I mean, but he said he's referred it to Pam, and Pam's going to look into it.
How long does that take? Seriously, it would take them this long to investigate me if I didn't pay that $6 on my income tax. This long, and my ass would be in jail. Do it today, and put somebody in jail. I'm sorry. I'm sick of it, Mock.
I know. I hear you.
It's nice. I get to hear all these things. I don't care.
Every time you see what your own tax bill is, and then you think about someone at the Kennedy Center just making off with your money. You know what I mean? It's like all these people are just getting rich, and we're here doing our very best
paying
that
the
we
bills.
can.
We're
paying the bills so that they can go off and be wealthy. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
All right, moving on. We need to talk about the fact that the leader of Hamas, the current leader, they have to switch out leaders constantly because the IDF keeps taking them out, which good on them. The most recent leader, he is bye-bye.
Airstrike. He was one of the most wanted in Israel. If you might remember, he was the younger brother of the militant group's former leader, Yahya Sinwar, who was killed in October 2024. So another one down in Hamas leadership.
Another one bites the dust.
Ow! He's the son of Yahya? Is that what she just said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just glad, anytime one of them goes down, it's a good day. It's a good day. Okay. And then there was a report, this had to absolutely, I think it was CNN who probably hated reporting on this, but there was a report about one of the freed hostages who said that the Hamas captors were terrified of Trump and were hoping for a President Kamala. His name is Omer Shern Tov, and CNN had to allow him to tell his story. Here it is.
Very scared of him. Yeah, they wanted
Who?
Terrorists.
We're afraid of Trump.
Yeah, they wanted Kamala to be chosen, to be elected.
You talked politics with them?
Yeah. They wanted Kamala to be elected. When Trump became president, the way they treated us changed. For me, personally, this is what I
think
felt.
because they anticipated that a deal would come soon.
Yeah.
And that's when they started giving you more food.
Exactly. More food, treated me better, stopped cursing me, stopped spitting on me.
Unbelievable.
Even?
Yeah. And just think what would have happened had he been the president 4 years prior. Right?
Yeah.
What would have not happened to that man?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Now, lots of people on the left and right like to accuse Trump of like being in bed with Netanyahu and like caving to the needs of Israel. But, Trump doesn't always agree with Bibi, and he lets it be known when he doesn't. And he was asked about that also when he was taking questions from reporters yesterday. Here he is on just not only Israel, but also the situation with Iran and what he said to Netanyahu.
Back on Iran, did you warn Prime Minister Netanyahu against taking some sort of actions that could disrupt the talks there in a phone call last week?
Well, I'd like to be honest. Yes, I did. Next question, please.
Mr. President, just last on sanctions.
I did, yeah.
If Senate Republicans want to push
It's not a warning. I said I don't think it's appropriate.
What exactly did you tell him? Did you
I just said I don't think it's appropriate. We're having very good discussions with him, and I said I don't think it's appropriate right now. Because if we can settle it with a very strong document, very strong, with inspections and no trust. I don't trust anybody.
Probably a good
No
plan.
trust. I want it very strong where we can go in with inspectors, we can take whatever we want, we can blow up whatever we want, but nobody getting killed. We can blow up a lab, but nobody's going to be in the lab, as opposed to everybody being in the lab and blowing it up, right? Two ways of doing it. Yeah, I told him this would be inappropriate to do right now because we're very close to a solution. Now,
so can you imagine Biden taking those questions?
Taking a question?
I know, right? This is the thing. When I see him at those like those every single day, he takes questions every day. And I know people they constantly criticize him, all the kind of, but imagine, if you will, just Biden or Kamala for that matter.
Well, you don't even have to imagine. Just remember how little we actually saw Biden ever answer questions, ever.
Yeah, it's
because
just
they were hiding him.
It's remarkable, the difference.
Yep. And it's interesting that you say that, because we're going to do a little flashback to early February of this year. So just a few weeks after Trump was inaugurated, and Scott Jennings was trying to tell his fellow panelists that Trump was already being the most transparent, most accessible president like ever. And they were trying to dispute that. Okay. So here he is, like, obviously telling the truth. And these people are out of their minds trying to pretend that it's not so, what he's saying. Just check this out.
Administration treated the press as poorly as any president has ever treated them, gave them less access, answered no questions, no transparency at any given time. Donald Trump's answered more questions in 3 weeks than Joe Biden answered in 4 years. Elon Musk answered more than
Also, a lot of the answers.
Come on, Brian. This administration is giving the most access to the press they could possibly want.
Just to be clear,
Brian,
how do they fight that?
Yeah, well, because it's the same reason they'll fight the whole he didn't have dementia thing for how many years? For 4 years. No, he's fine. It's a conspiracy theory. The right wingers they're perpetuating this conspiracy theory. How is it that we were all conspiracy theorists and now all of a sudden they're writing books about it and making money off of it? Interesting how that works, isn't it, Thumb Man?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the reason that I wanted to show that little flashback is because there was a recent tiny paragraph in Politico admitting exactly what Scott was trying to point out. By the numbers, it says a quick trawl through the archives suggests that Trump 2.0 has done media on 111 of his 138 days back in office, an 80% hit rate that includes weekends and must put him on course to being just about the most accessible president in modern history. So suck it, CNN panel.
Yeah.
Scott was right.
Yeah. In the words of Kristi Noem, suck it.
Exactly.
It's so true. It's he is, and they hate it.
Oh my God, I hate it so much.
They hate it. They're gonna find a reason to hate that too. You know, whatever.
Well, they do. Jessica Tarlov even said yesterday, she was like, I mean, yeah, Trump is always in front of the cameras, but he's always lying. That's how she's saying it.
Really? Kind of like you guys lied about the actual president that was not even elected. I mean, come on, the cabal that was run. You cannot lecture us online, Jessica Tarlov. Nope. You don't get to do that. You do not get to lecture us, GOPers, on the lying. Take all the seats, lady. Oh my gosh.
I know. Ridiculous. And speaking of Scott Jennings, you remember a few weeks ago when Tim Walz was talking to some audience and explaining how he code talked to men to make them feel comfortable with the Kamala ticket. Right. And like, you know, he was showing how manly he was. Scott was at an event recently where he was talking about Tim Walz and that moment of code talking for men. So you're going to see a little clip of Tim Walz's quote and then Scott reacting to it. It's perfect.
I could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their truck.
First of all, we don't speak in code. You know, we're not aliens. Second of all, I might recommend to the governor that if your first move at a political event is to go right to the jazz hands, maybe you're not speaking the correct language that you think you're speaking, perhaps a different dialect, but
why do you think it is that Democrats have had such a hard time convincing men and young men in particular of their message lately, and conservatives have been much more successful at it through Trump?
It's very simple, because they care more about dudes who want to be women than dudes who just want to be dudes. That is the main reason.
True.
I love that.
And his code, this code was, you know, everybody was looking at, all the men were like, why are you gay?
Why are you so gay?
Yeah, just stop. It's true. Everything he said is true.
It's so true. And and
they can't stop, won't stop. Everything that he said that they did, they're still doing, because they haven't learned. They're the party of the beta male, and we are the party of the alpha male.
That's exactly right.
And it's not changing. Like I will never apologize for being in the camp with the alpha males. I want to be with an alpha male.
Yeah, I want to be with an alpha male who knows how to make steak.
That's right.
Not someone who just knows how to pour soy. Okay. If you have a real man in your life that you need a Father's Day gift for, can we please recommend omahasteaks.com? They've got a big fat site sale. It's Father's Day. You cannot go wrong with steaks. And if you think it's just steaks, you are sadly mistaken. They have the yummiest seafood. They have chicken. They have burgers. They have dogs. They've got the smash burgers, you know, like the little thin ones.
So good.
So good. Oh my
God. Freaking good, you guys.
And then don't even get us started on the tartlets and all the sides. Everything at omahasteaks.com. Delicious. And they've got all these gift bundles that you can choose from, or you can just make your own. But you know that the dads in your life are going to appreciate it. They always do. It's a slam dunk gift. Omahasteaks.com is the website. Of course, use code CHICKS and you're going to get an extra $35 off. Code CHICKS, omahasteaks.com. Do it. James Comey.
Oh gosh, this guy.
This guy.
I mean, if you want to call him that, if you want to call him a guy, should we really call him a guy? This beta.
Stand him.
This beta.
So he has the gall and the arrogance to condescend about Dan Bongino's former role as a podcaster. This is so disgusting, the way that he talks about this. So he was on with Wolf Blitzer, and Wolf was asking him about these cases. We talked about this yesterday, that Kash and Dan Bongino both said we're kind of like reopening these, or not. Even if they're still open, they're like putting more resources into getting these 3 cases more attention. And so Wolf Blitzer was asking James Comey what he thought about that. And listen to what he said about Dan Bongino. It just is so infuriating.
It's a little confusing to me, honestly. I'm sure it's a huge adjustment to go from being a podcaster to being the deputy director of the FBI, but I don't understand this tweet. First of all, I assume that the investigation of the pipe bomb that was found on January 6th was never closed. The FBI never closes such a thing, so I guess it means they're going to focus on it more. And as to the other things, I thought the Supreme Court marshal had investigated the leak of the opinion, the draft opinion. I don't know what the FBI's role is there. Cocaine at the White House, I thought the Secret Service investigated that, so I don't follow it and understand it. I also don't understand who the audience is for this tweet. The FBI often calls for public assistance, or in matters of great public concern will announce an investigation to reassure the public. This seems much more narrowly targeted, maybe to a former podcast audience.
Oh my God.
It's not surprising that you don't understand that, you twit, because you didn't understand what the shells meant on the beach. Everybody else knew, but you didn't understand it because you're of a lower level of intelligence. We know that. How dare he talk down to him?
I know.
They all do that too. They all use the media experience as some sort of a way to discount everything they did before doing media.
Right.
They do it to Hegseth too. Drives me crazy. As if Hegseth was never even a part of the military ever.
Right.
He never had any. He just did a morning show, you guys. That's all he did.
What an elitist prick that guy is. God.
Not only that, but what's wrong with being in the media? What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with being a podcaster?
What's wrong with that? Hello? Like we both worked for like a collective half a century to do this. Some of us worked really hard to do this. So bite me.
Yeah, he is absolutely awful. He was on recently too with Jen Psaki, where she's trying to say there's, Trump's doing like unprecedented things and how are we to react to it? And he basically said that anyone involved with Trump or a supporter of Trump is white supremacist adjacent. This is now how they're talking about us and everybody that supports Trump. Here he is with Psaki.
That is happening now is that the Trump administration is, of course, testing the system in ways it hasn't been tested before. In the law enforcement sense, do you think there are laws that should be put in place that would help better manage this that aren't in place now? I mean, are we equipped? Is the law enforcement system and the legal system equipped to deal with what we're seeing now?
Probably there could be changes at the margins, but in the main, we have the tools. There are cultural impediments to doing this work. Let's say you work in the FBI. You know that one of the two political parties is, let me put it nicely, white supremacist adjacent at a minimum. And so why would you want to throw your career on that side of the line and be summoned to Capitol Hill to be asked, why are you pursuing these innocent groups? And so we have a cultural impediment to working it effectively that should get more attention than it does.
Yes, the people who are not white supremacists are the ones who are telling the white farmers, you don't get anything, but those people with melanin get their loans paid back. But since you're white, you don't get anything. We're going to go ahead and we're going to discriminate against you. But we're the white supremacists? I'm sorry. I'm going to need somebody to just break that down. Somebody with a higher level of intelligence like James Comey. The projection is just, it's too much at this point. The gaslighting and the projection.
Yeah. And he does these safe interviews where he's talking with Jen freaking Psaki or Wolf Blitzer, but come up to him and ask him to explain those words directly when he's in the middle of a book signing, and all of a sudden he doesn't want to talk anymore. This is what happened yesterday.
I was going to ask you about the MSNBC interview you were doing, because on social media everyone's saying he's talking about the white supremacist adjacent Republican Party, everybody in the party, voters. What's you want to clarify?
I don't want to answer that one. No, thank you though.
No clarification at all.
No, I'm not going to comment on it.
Okay.
No.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Be well, you white supremacist. Be well.
The most amazing thing to me about that clip is that there was someone in line wanting him to sign a book.
Mm-hmm.
Who are these people?
Even more amazing is that he wrote a book.
And this isn't even the first one.
I know. You know he had ghostwriters, though. You know it.
Just I'm so
There's
grossed out.
no way that guy wrote his own book. There's no way.
Well, Kash Patel was on with Bret Baier responding to these comments, and here is what Kash said.
Comey. If he wants to come after me, no problem. I've been living rent-free in that guy's head for years, and that's just a bonus. Do you know how many copycats we've had to investigate as a result of that beachside venture from the former director?
Is that right?
Do you know how many agents I've had to take offline from chasing down child sex predators, fentanyl traffickers, terrorists? Because everywhere across this country, people are popping up on social media and think that a threat to the life of the President of the United States is a joke and they can do it because he did it. That's what I'm having to deal with every single day. And that's what I'm having to pull my agents and analysts off because he thought it was funny to go out there and make a political statement.
That's got to be frustrating. You know what he should do? Put him in jail. I don't know, because I feel like 30 years ago that would have happened. If you threatened the life of a president, remember? Do you remember? I'm old enough to remember when you weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah, how long does Comey get away with being all like, "Oh, I'm folksy. I didn't know that meant anything." I mean, why does he get to do that?
I'm folksy too, and I knew what it meant. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. Just put the guy in jail. Cut him.
I saw somebody comment that, no arrests are made. Patel is a joke. People are very, very frustrated, and they're only going to get more so when they hear this little snippet, because Bret Baier pushed back on his earlier comments in front of Capitol Hill about Jeffrey Epstein taking his own life. He is tripling down.
A lot of conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
All right. Listen, that's fine. I'll give him some grace on this. But in a month, if I hear he and Bongino say, "Hey, COVID started with a bat in a market," I'm seriously going to lose my mind, you guys. I'm going to lose my mind.
Am I frozen?
You were
Was it
for a
me?
second. Yeah, you were frozen for a second.
Okay.
But I'm going to lose my mind. If they say that in a month, if I hear that, then I'm out. I'll give him a little bit of grace with this. I think that was done. I don't. I don't know, but your mileage may vary, but he's seeing something that I obviously haven't seen, but I don't think he killed himself.
Yeah. And he's very adamant about it, you guys. He is adamant. And I don't know what to make of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. We need to talk about the latest Project Veritas scoop. They actually got David Hogg caught on hidden camera admitting that one of the people with the most power during Biden's administration, Biden's presidency, was Jill Biden's chief of staff. And they did not have particularly kind things to say about that person. Here is what O'Keefe caught on tape.
So many people knew, or few people knew about Biden. Well, the president of the United States.
I think the fact of the matter is the DNC is always going to be like a campaign arm of the president, ultimately. The bigger issue was like the inner circle that was around Biden. That's it.
And I can't stress you enough.
Like Joe Biden's chief of staff, had an enormous amount of power.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's chief of staff.
That was like an open secret. I would avoid him. He was scary.
What was his name?
Anthony Trump.
I've never seen him.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
He's like a shadowy, Wizard of Oz type figure. That's what made him so and I knew how he looked, but I'm like, the general public wouldn't know how this man looked. But he wielded an enormous amount of power, and I can't stress to you how much power he had in the White House.
Again, we're all conspiracy theorists until we're not, right? So here we are. And why do these people go to lunch with these other people and tell them all these secrets? Why does this always happen? What is that about the lunches? Like
it's like, I think they get all of these meetups like through Hinge or Tinder or whatever.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, I don't understand. This is where they get all the dirt, is in these lunches, and they all just spill all this information. Could you imagine? I just want to go and have a big salad and some fries. You know?
And if we were in government, I feel like if we were starting to get a lot of questions like that, we would be like, this seems a little
sus. I'm probably not going to answer a lot of these questions and just start spilling all of this, but they do, because they're just weak. Like,
and I looked at David Hogg's Twitter yesterday afternoon to see if he'd said anything, and I hadn't noticed him saying anything just yet. Perhaps he has by now, but I thought that was really interesting that he is the one that was caught saying, "Oh yeah, it was all the people around him, mostly this guy."
God, so Anthony Burnell, we can thank him for completely effing up the country. Is he like he's the head dude? That's great. It's the bottom line is biggest scandal in American history.
Huge.
And everybody is just like on the left, no big deal. I really hated Trump's tweet the other day. Oh my, are you guys not like, there's a giant elephant in the room. Like, he's so like, he's the fattest, most gigantic elephant in the room. We're not dealing with that. Again, I want to see people arrested. I want to see people carted off to jail for the fact that should have never happened in a free United States of America. They totally scammed the American public. It was a huge scandal, you guys. Who's going to pay for it? Who?
Yeah, and they don't get to talk about anybody around Trump being unelected.
No.
I mean, literally the entire government was ran by unelected people. So take a seat, Democrats.
We find out now Anthony Burnell. Who the hell is Anthony Burnell? Did you guys elect him? I don't remember even hearing that guy's name until like I was today years old.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's
but listen,
crazy.
if you're worried or if you're concerned about Jake Tapper making a bunch of money from this book, from this expose, which really conservatives had been talking about for years, he's here to tell you it's not about the money.
Oh, I'm sure it's
not about the money,
Jake.
guys.
Okay.
Take it from Jake.
In terms of the left, it's a money grab. I mean, that's not the case. It's not. This is. I don't want to get into where my money comes from, but I'm CNN is my main job, and that's where my main source of income by far. Very few people write books to make money. You write a book because you want to say something, you want to have a legacy, you want to uncover something, you have a message you want to get out there. I don't think people write books about Joe Biden to make money. We are gratified that people are buying this book.
Did he get an advance?
But I don't think. I mean, the idea that I would do this for money is it's silly and not true.
It's silly, not true, you guys.
I need to know if Jake Tapper got an advance.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he did.
I'm looking it up right now because I don't know. I'm looking it up right now.
I wonder if that would even be public like that. I don't know that would.
I would hope. I don't. I'm trying to see. I don't know. I don't see anything about it. But I'm sure that he did. You know, he got like a massive advance for this, especially as scandalous as this was. He got, and he has a high profile position on that show. Yeah, you don't make any money off of books. That's true. We can attest to that. You don't.
If it's not about the money, he should be donating it.
Right.
But it's not about the money.
But he is actually making money off this book, especially with all the PR that it's gotten. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding? Give me a break, Jake Tapper. And don't act like you're some sort of hero and you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart because you're a benevolent person. If you were benevolent, you would have talked about this 4 years ago and the rest of us were talking about it. I cannot stand his face.
He needs to donate all the proceeds to every conservative media outlet who has been saying the truth about this for years.
Exactly. Totally.
That's what needs to happen. I would like you to read a couple of screenshots about something that is happening in San Francisco schools, which is insane. And I can't preface it any better than that. Please read this first one.
Okay. Without seeking approval of the San Francisco Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools Maria Sue plans to unveil a new grading for equity plan on Tuesday that will go into effect this fall at 14 high schools and cover over 10,000 students. Oh, God. The school district is already negotiating with an outside consultant to train teachers in August in a system that awards a passing C grade to as low as a score of 41 on a 100-point exam.
41. Okay, but it gets worse. Here
like how can it get worse?
Does. Please continue.
Grading for equity eliminates homework or weekly tests from being counted in a student's final semester grade. All that matters is how the student scores on a final examination, which can be taken multiple times. Students can be late, turning in an assignment, or showing up to class, or not showing up at all without it affecting their academic grade. Currently, a student needs a 90 for an A and at least a 61 for under a D under the San Leandro Unified School District's grading for equity system touted by the San Francisco Unified School District and its consultant. A student with a score as low as 80 can attain an A, and as low as 21 can pass with a D.
What the hell are we doing?
Crap.
I just cannot.
Yeah, but education's going to get better in this country. We're already in the crapper. This is
what?
The thing.
And why would anybody that works in the field of education want to dumb down the country this much?
I don't know. Democrats and liberals it's like, again, it's a cancer. They're taking over our education. Why would you want this? Because they don't actually care about kids or education. Don't
they care about themselves? Like, I think of it in terms of my own care. So when I get old and I need doctors to be competent as we get older, and we need young doctors to be competent, don't these people worry about stuff like that?
No.
I will never understand this masochistic behavior. We'll never understand
it. They don't have, I agree with you. I totally do, because we have common sense, but a lot of these people do not, in fact, have common sense. They think entirely through the prism of social justice and DEI. And when you think through that prism, their common sense is just gone. It's poof, it's gone. You don't have it.
It's insane. Absolutely
it
insane.
Is insanity.
Perhaps you've heard this horrible story that comes right from Daisy's neck of the woods. And this is about a illegal alien who was arrested for hitting an 18-year-old soon-to-be cadet in the U.S. Air Force Academy. Or no, she had just graduated from the prep school and was about, was about to start basic training. And she was hit on a jet ski. And then the illegal that hit her took off running, got protected by some people, ultimately was caught. But this is absolutely insane. This should have never happened. And it's a complete waste.
Beautiful, accomplished girl. She was a basketball player. I mean, she was going to contribute so much to society, you guys.
Yeah. And these are the two that were
pieces of crap.
2 pieces of crap. And then we'll show who they murdered. And it's this lovely young lady right here.
She was, exemplary in every way. And she was going to just do amazing things. And they took that from her, and they took that from her family.
Then they tried to get away with it by running.
Yeah. They took it from us. Because think of the things that she was going to do with her life. They took that. They shouldn't have been here.
Nope.
And this is the stuff that liberals will fight for. They will fight for the illegals, not for this beautiful young lady who had her whole life in front of her. It is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and it makes me so angry. Because as a mom, I cannot imagine what her mother and her father are going through. I just can't. Not okay. Unacceptable.
It is. I mean, when you think about, and then all the lefties want to say, people that are citizens commit far more crimes than the people who are here illegally. And I'm always just like,
just shut up.
Do you understand that people who are here illegally should not have been here in the first place to commit the crimes? Like, that is just the dumbest stat that they try to throw back in your face.
They committed their first crime by busting over the border illegally. That was the first crime they committed. And then this is the second one. What a piece of shit that woman was, first of all, for doing this and then running.
I love that Governor Abbott was like, "Welcome to the death penalty state."
He was like, "Welcome to, here's your death penalty." He said, "Welcome to Texas. Here's your death penalty." And so many people, all the people on the left were like so butthurt by that.
Oh my God.
If you don't like it, bye.
Yeah. ICE has also arrested another illegal for making threats on Trump's life. Here is that story.
Illegal migrant now in custody after allegedly writing that he'll self-deport after shooting President Trump. In a letter that he sent to an ICE agent, the 54-year-old Mexican national has illegally entered the U.S. at least 9 times and has a lengthy rap sheet. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem reacting in a statement saying, quote, thanks to our ICE officers, this illegal alien who threatened to assassinate President Trump is behind bars. All politicians and members of the media should take notice of these repeated attempts on President Trump's life and tone down their rhetoric. I will continue to take all measures necessary to ensure the protection of President Trump. All right.
Also, suck it, Kristi Noem.
You're not telling her to suck it. You're quoting her.
No, I'm quoting her. Like she to that illegal that wanted to kill the president. Suck it. Yeah.
And now you know that there's all these judges, these corrupt judges across the country who are trying to thwart Trump's attempts to get rid of all these illegal criminals. At every turn, they are trying to prevent the process because they're screaming for due process. And so there was a woman interviewing Alan Dershowitz about this very issue, and he had a solution to the due process issue, which I thought was super interesting. Here he is.
Question is, and I think I've heard you address this in different speeches you've given, maybe you can help us understand the practical question. Yeah. If everyone is entitled this kind of due process and we have 20 million illegal aliens in our country, what's the possibility of getting even a meaningful number of them out that wouldn't take 10 years to accomplish?
Very simple. No, it'll take 10 minutes. Here's what you do. You take them out of the country without giving them process. You then give them an opportunity to challenge their deportation by Zoom from the American embassy or from some other place. Due process doesn't mean you have to be there in person.
I love that. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Right?
I think it's absolutely brilliant. Yep.
I mean, I feel like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think he absolutely knows what he's talking about. Yeah, and why do they have to be here? And why do we have to be paying for a lot of these people? Why?
Exactly.
While they go through that process, I don't want to pay for them. Again, I am sick of funding other people's crap.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is like apropos of absolutely nothing, but Greta Van Susteren, is that her whole name?
I think that's how Greta Van Susteren. I always said Susteren, but it's probably wrong.
Susteren?
I think
could be wrong.
I don't know.
Well, she posted the weirdest thing on Twitter and got absolutely dragged yesterday. Here is what she said. I think everyone has gone nuts. I asked a mutual friend for Jean Pirro's new cell. I have known and been friends with Jean since the 90s. And the friend said that Jean told her not to give it to me. Huh? What in the world is that all about? Has everyone gone nuts? And I was like, it is nuts that you posted this publicly without even tagging Judge Janine or spelling her name correctly.
Yeah, that.
And I was like, what? Why would she do this? Like, what kind of crazy high school nonsense is this?
We're like totally good friends. I just don't know her name. We're really good friends, you guys.
This is so weird, right?
Oh my gosh. It's like,
I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, that's not. Did Judge Janine write her back?
I don't know. I just was like, if you're such good friends, then you would already have her phone number. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't be calling her a name that you can't even.
Janine should totally call her a completely different name. Okay, Brenda. It's like this. She should actually respond with something as completely nuts as that is, because it's nuts.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of nuts and people who have them, unfortunately, Dylan Mulvaney has decided to ruin a whole other company. Bud Light was not enough. Now, Dylan is the face of Gaultier's new fragrance called Divine or Divine. Divine. It's spelled divine.
None of us are buying it, right? Nobody cares.
It's spelled divine, but it's pronounced divine.
Of course,
of course it is.
Of course,
And the best part is that they call it peak femininity. This is what femininity.
It's not even spelled right. They spelled it wrong. They spelled it wrong.
They spelled it right in the description. They said, let your femininity shine through. But then to use a guy to promote it,
yeah.
What are they doing? So Dylan was in Morocco, I guess, to ride a camel in preparation for his big photo shoot. And here he is describing his experience.
I'm Dylan. I'm here in the desert in Morocco with Jean-Paul Gaultier's Divine fragrance. This is a camel, and I'm gonna ride it now. Arch that back, girl. Woo! Ooh, I think it smells a little. I think we might need some Divine.
This is the dumbest.
Oh, I lost the cap. We lost the cap. We see
I know.
Down there?
Yeah! Jean-Paul Gaultier! Divine!
Out of all the women in the world, they chose a dude.
We're in the brat pit together. Rat pit. Or sweat tour? No, rat.
Where is this again?
Where Morocco.
Okay.
And then there were the official photos that came out that there was like an ad that looks like this. So.
Okay. Well,
I will not be buying that.
No, I won't be buying it either. Why did brands keep doing this?
I have no idea. No idea.
They also need to get a better copywriter because that title was misspelled. Like,
yeah,
get it together.
It's just such an insult to women. I don't understand how women, like writ large, are not just absolutely disgusted and offended. And why would anybody buy this fragrance? Why?
Question. I have a question. Is Morocco an Islamic country?
I don't know. I actually have no idea.
Is it? It is. It is Islamic. It is. That's why I was wondering when I asked where he was, because I was like, wait, if it's an Islamic country and he's there doing that,
shouldn't he be like thrown off a rooftop or something according to their laws?
I feel like that's frowned upon there. I'm just putting that out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that is happening. It is time for some My Pillow talks that are going to be not like your typical talks until we get to the end. This first one, I shared this with our group yesterday because I could not believe that this was the way that a man decided to propose to his girlfriend. And yet, you guys.
A young woman and her boyfriend are shopping at a convenience store. Something's happening at the cash register. A surveillance camera captures this guy pulling a gun on the store clerk. As the couple go to pay, the clerk announces, Suddenly, the robber bursts back in and herds them all to the back of the store.
You, that right there.
The couple hunker down. You can hear the terror in the woman's voice as the bad guy focuses his attention on her.
You have kids? How many kids? Are you real? It's my girlfriend. I didn't see a ring. Yeah, we're not married.
Oh my
The robber
God.
reaches ominously into his bag.
You know what? What are you waiting for?
He hands something to the boyfriend. Then this happens.
Will you marry me?
Oh my God.
And she's like, yeah,
And it starts to dawn on the petrified young woman what's really going on. The robbery is actually a crazy proposal of marriage.
Crazy is right.
Oh my
Everybody was in
God.
on it except for her.
Yeah.
She said yes to that.
She said yes. I think part of this is like prom proposals, wedding proposals. Everything is so for the gram now. Everything is so overdone. I mean, I don't know about you. I think I remember you telling me how Ron proposed to you, but I mean, Greg proposed to me in a car, and it was
We
just
were just
like,
in the living room.
it was very intimate. It was like, it wasn't so over the top, and there was a production, and there were t-shirts and like confetti. It just wasn't. That's what people do now. And so I think guys feel like they have to do that. So I'm not saying that completely to defend his stupidity in this, but there is a part of me that's defending him a little bit because our society now is so ridiculous when it comes to these things.
That's true. But like, of all ways
He was
that
trying
you're
to be
going to surprise somebody.
I hear you, but he was probably like, I got to be so creative and what's not been done before. And this is
God.
definitely not been done. And it's like,
I would have
oh my
not only
God.
said no, I would have straight up strangled him and broken up.
Just
like, that's just not okay.
We're Gen Xers who believe that it's okay to just propose to your wife in a car, you know? It's okay.
Wow.
Yeah, wow is right.
And if you're already mad, then just wait, because you're about to get madder. This relates back to where all of your tax money goes. And unfortunately, when we hear words like fraud, waste, and abuse, this is what we're talking about, you guys. This right
y'all
here.
hating on me because I live rent free and I can afford the luxuries that y'all dream about for me and my kids. I'm going to continue to buy my luxury bags while the government pay my rent. I'm going to continue to go on trips and do the things that me and my kids love to do while y'all struggle to pay for a grocery bill and I'm swiping my EBT card.
Okay. All right. Remember when that wasn't a flex? Do you remember? I was like, we got to bring back shame.
So everybody needs to report that account. I hope. I saw it on Twitter. I think it originally came from TikTok, where I couldn't find her name, but like people who what original platform that was on, I hope they report it en masse to the IRS immediately.
That's part of what I hoped that DOGE would cut is crap like that. I'm so sick of people scamming the system. And when she says the government's paying for it, biatch, we are the government.
Right. Right.
We're doing that. It's us. It's people who work every day while you don't.
Yeah. And then she's just bragging about, oh my God.
The flexing. I know. It's gross.
All right, let's get to some good stuff because that has my blood pressure up a bit.
Me too.
This is fun. This is an old clip of when Donald Trump in his youth was on the Roseanne show and she's getting flirty with him and it's adorable.
A fat middle-aged woman that's a Jew.
It's always possible.
No, you're more into the young blonde thin model thing, aren't you?
I tend to be, but you know, you never know what happens. I mean, life changes. Yeah, life can change.
Have you ever been with a fat woman?
No. But it could happen. It could happen.
Oh my God!
I know. It's good. I can imagine it's very good.
No, I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
I think I'd be very pleasantly surprised.
I love it. That was awesome.
Isn't that the cutest?
I love it so much.
I know. I thought that was so fun.
You'd be pleasantly surprised.
You just never know. Life can change. You never know.
It's true.
Now I'm married to Melania, so life has not changed.
She's still probably in love with Trump too. She probably say the same thing. Only I don't think I wouldn't call her fat.
No, I think she's kind of like average size.
She has aged very well.
For sure. This is basically my dream flight, you guys. Right here, what you're about to see. Dream flight. I mean, look at this angelic creature.
Look at his face. Oh my gosh, I love him. I love him.
I need a flight like this.
Why doesn't he
that
just
would make
come and
like
hang out with you in the seat? He doesn't need to be between the seats. I would be like, come here.
I will take you. Isn't that the cutest?
I know.
And then to wrap up today's show, we have a montage of Rockstar. You know how much we love his voiceovers.
Yes.
This is a fresh batch, if you will.
I know you're sorry for what you did, and I'm sorry for barking at you, but just remember, man, next time you chew up one of these shoes, let them know you did it. I got in trouble for that, okay? I love you. You know what I'm saying? You're my brother. Cheer up. Let's go. I just pooped in the kitchen, bro. We got to go.
Wake up.
Okay.
Get up.
I'm up.
Get up.
Stop.
Get up.
Stop.
Get up.
Stop. I told you stop.
You told me to wake you up, though.
But you ain't have to hit me. Hey, dog, can you watch your tail, man? Your tail. Hey, man, your tail, man. It's going crazy, man. You know what's out there, man? Oh, to bite your leg off of that, man.
Oh, my God.
Look, I told you stop looking at me. I'm not playing with you. Ow. Oh. I'm not vicious. You know, you always mess with me. I'm not vicious. Stop. So you're supposed to be my new brother. I really want to fight you right now, but they seem to love you. They told me to show you around, so I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you this ass whooping. I'm gonna whoop you if you don't get out this house. And then he tried to run away and he dropped his ball, bro. All right, I'm gonna go to the room and count to 3. You hide.
Okay. Oh, you too stupid to find me right here.
1, 2, 3. Here I come. You under this blanket, ain't you?
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I just love them. They're the best.
I know that you just
The
they're
absolute best.
We'll never ever tire of them. We do have some thank yous from Venmo today. Curtis Woods said, to those foolish enough to buy into this reparations scam, I will paraphrase Mark Twain, quote, the world doesn't owe you a fucking thing. It was here first, end quote.
True. So true.
Colleen W. said, Daisy, if you're not anti-racist, then you're racist. If you're not anti-white, then you're a white supremacist. Take my racist white money. YouTube would not let me send. That's weird.
Okay.
I don't know why they wouldn't let you
That's
send.
weird. Yeah.
Over on Locals, Roth Lady Wright said maybe Epstein was threatened and allowed to kill himself. Maybe it was a conspiracy and the guards were drugged and the cameras were interfered with. And stuff happened. LOL. Now you
okay. Marcus Drake, MAGA needs to field solid candidates to primary the do-nothings in Congress. They should also move to either take over the Republican Party or form a new party. Okay.
How do you do that?
I feel
How
like
do you
MAGA
just take over. You know what I mean?
I feel like we're already kind of taking over. It's just a matter of weeding out all the do-nothings. And then I think we'll eventually take over. I think that will happen. Susie Conklin, thank you for that super sticker. Leah Shalek, about the racist farmer loan repayment. These are the same people who claim that Trump is ignoring SCOTUS. Biden ignored SCOTUS on student loans too. Yeah. People forget that. Just a little. Jackie Labor, land of DeSantis. The Florida Panthers are on the way to the Stanley Cup. They sealed the deal last night. I love you, chicks. Always make my day. Thank you, Jackie. Look at that. Robin Dye, happy 108th birthday to President Kennedy. I was raised by Kennedy Democrats who evolved to GOPers, then to MAGA. Very cool.
It has been an evolution, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Brian Brumley, remember what Rush said. If they say it's not about the money, it's about the money. Yes, Brian.
Yep.
Mendy Owens, my daughter-in-law is a teacher. It's not the teachers who want to dumb down these kids. They are forced to do this or lose their job. I think there are some teachers that are on board with it, but you're right. It's not all the teachers. There are really good teachers out there, but man, they have to fight the system, and God bless them.
And there's so many videos out right now of teachers who are like, I'm leaving because kids are so freaking dumb. Like they're not even at the basic. There's nothing I can do with these idiots. Like they're too far gone.
Dumb and disrespectful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ed Ferguson, the government can control people by controlling what the people hear, media, learn, education, and say, thought police. If you don't think it works, look back at the USSR, 1936 to 1945, Germany.
Yeah.
It's true. Mm-hmm. Arnerm, very few people write books to make money. Can you confirm this, Miss Rowling? Now take my non-book money. You're right. You're right. The right ones make a lot of money. They really do. Bo Mama 8. Seriously, they could have done Dylan's farce of an ad in the sand dunes of Monahans, Texas. There are camels there too. Tell me I'm wrong, Daisy. LOL. There are no camels around where I am, but yes, I would imagine that there are camels around here somewhere for sure. Okay, we're bringing it in.
We're bringing it in.
Tell everybody what your shirt says.
It said this. Daisy got this for me. It says Wolność, which is Polish for liberty or freedom, and I love it.
Because I'm sure people are like, what is that? What does that say? That's what, Polish, you guys. There you go. You learned a new word today. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.
Hello, beautiful people. This is the Chicks on the Right's Indian correspondent. Thank you for watching or listening. Be very sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on all of their delicious content. Okay, thank you. Come again.